Hey Moonlovers, welcome to All Things Moon. My name is Kelly Jones and this is my first time of adventuring into the world of podcasting. Naturally, I am an introverted Cancerian who likes to stay in her shell. But luckily, I am a Sagittarius rising and it's Sagittarius season, so I have taken the plunge, bought a fancy swanky microphone, and here I am. So what is All Things Moon? I am bringing all my 30 plus years of teaching and guiding spiritual well-being together. I'm currently training to be an astrologer. I am a Strala Yoga guide. I am a moonologer. And these past few years, the two things that have really saved me have been getting on my yoga mat and studying the moon and the stars and bringing all of that into my life and using it to help me understand myself and understand what's going on in this crazy world we find ourselves in. So in my first episode, I will be giving you a little bit more of my story, and I will be asking you what it is that you would like to know from me. I'll be doing a regular Q&A, an Ask Kelly episode, and I will also be sharing things that will help you in your everyday life, just to join the dots together. I'm really good at joining the dots together and alchemizing your story so it just feels better. So enough waffling, and I look forward to sharing more with you soon. Hey Moon Lovers, I'm back from Egypt with more Lunar Wisdom for everyday life. So I'm your host, Kelly Jones, and since the last time we spoke, I have been to Egypt and back. So I'll be telling you a little bit about my journey and adventure to Egypt, and this episode will be talking dark moon, new moon in Pisces, International Women's Day, and a little bit about Mercury and the throat chakra. So they are all things that I wanted to cover in our half an hour that we have. So if you've been following me on my podcast so far, we know that at the moment I only have a half an hour window on this podcast platform. So I will try and squeeze it all in. If I don't, then I will obviously pop it into next week's episode. Got some really exciting things to tell you about, so hopefully I can fit them all in. So first up, today is International Women's Day, and it's also a very yin feminine day because it falls on a dark moon. So that's the waning phase of the moon. As after it's full, it starts to wane, starts to disappear, gets darker and darker until you can't see the moon at all before it becomes new again. So it will be new again on Sunday the 10th. So you can join me on Sunday the 10th online for a new moon in Pisces online ceremony. It's a super moon as well. So that means that when it's a super moon, it just means that the moon is closer to the Earth because it's elliptical. So its orbit is elliptical. So sometimes it's further away and sometimes it's closer. The closer it is, the more potent it is. And we're in the Pisces season at the moment, the most spiritual, watery, dreamy, flowing, like a mermaid, Neptunian, Jupiterian energies. So they are the ruling planets of the zodiac sign Pisces. The traditional ruler is Jupiter and the modern ruler is Neptune. So Jupiter expands. It's abundant, it's expansive, it's lucky. And Neptune is dreamy, can be illusionary. So that's kind of energy that we're in. But today into tomorrow is the real true dark moon phase. So that really is a time when we should be relaxing and connecting our body and our mind and our spirit. It's a time to process everything that's going on in our lives and a time to declutter our internal world. So it's not necessarily a time to take action and clear the house out. It's much more of a time for sitting back, reflecting, going within, and decluttering your mind and your heart. So it's not a time to focus on anything in particular, just yourself. So absolutely perfect that it's International Women's Day. It's a dark moon in Pisces. And this morning I held my second self-love club yoga, coffee and connection class at the wonderful venue Angel Pavilion. And my class has grown in numbers since the first one, which was really magical this morning because I had started the class and I started with a lovely going inwards meditation. And when I opened my eyes, like magic, somebody else had appeared in the room and I hadn't even noticed them sneak in. So it was a truly magical manifesting morning. And we did a very yin style yoga class. So a true yin class, we would be holding poses for up to sort of 6 or 7 minutes at a time. We didn't really hold poses for up to that length, but we kept it very slow. We stayed in poses to just notice how we're feeling. Strala yoga is very much about noticing how you feel. So I call it self-love yoga, and tying everything in with the moon phases, it shows you that, as I talked about last time, how moon rituals following the phases of the moon is an act of self-love. So if you want to find out about more about that, then listen to the last episode. And so today I wanted to tell you a bit more about the Pisces new moon and my trip to Egypt. So I'll start with Egypt because that was kind of in the past already. It's already 2 weeks since I went to Egypt. And it was a very spontaneous act. Some of you might have heard my story, how I ended up going there. And once I was there, one of the big things I wanted to do was get out of my comfort zone, which was limiting me. I'd written some stories in my head which were making my world too small. And obviously, that's not very self-loving. So in an act of self-love, I started to take notice of where I'm limiting myself. And some of that was around the subject of money. And I was talking to a lovely friend of mine, Susie Musk, and I was talking about money blocks. And she said to me, I've been training in this new technique. And I'll just tell you, so it's what Susie does. She's training in an energetic healing technique that can dissolve trauma and trapped emotions. So it's a divine, intelligent energy that she uses. And she does it on Zoom. And she said to me, I'd love to, as part of my training, help you see if we can get rid of these money blocks. So I had 2 sessions a week apart on Zoom. And after those 2 sessions, I found myself going to Egypt. And the minute I pressed that button to book my flight, it was though I'd pressed the button to open up what I'd been closing myself down to. And opportunities have come flooding in ever since, literally from the day before. And the day before, I must tell you, I had booked myself onto a vision day. So I think there was 8 women at a lady called Lucia Craddock's house, and she'd brought us together. So it was like a women's circle, but we'd come together for the day to eat beautiful plant-based food, to drink cacao, to hold hands in circle, to meditate, and to get clear and have clarity on our vision for ourselves. And I had booked that for myself as a smaller thing, not that it was a small event, but as a smaller thing than flying to Egypt, because I'd kind of talked myself out and thought, oh, I'm just not going to get to Egypt. It's not going to happen. I didn't want to upset Tom by going on holiday in another country without him and all these limiting things that we do to ourselves. But so I did this healing technique, and all of a sudden I was doing this vision day, but also the very next morning flying across to Dahab in Egypt to visit my beautiful friend Jane, who's out there. She's an awakened belly dancing teacher, and she's just currently now 5 hours into the desert for 18 days to do her third awakened belly dancing training out there. But before she did that, she was house sitting for her teacher, Katie, who teaches, she's the person who created Awaken Belly Dancing, and she was looking after her cat, Kitty. So it was home from home for me, a yoga studio above the house, which is just like a dream come true, with the mountains in the background, the sea in front of me. And every morning I could go upstairs in the sunshine, do my morning yoga practice, and then go for a nice plant-based breakfast, which was much easier to come across than I imagined it to be, in a lovely place called Dahab. It's a very chilled out beach. It's a scuba diving area. Quite a hippie vibe there. There was a wonderful art cafe there called Mood's Art House Cafe, and I attended one of Jane's art workshops there that she was holding, mark making. And so that was really fun. Really cool vibes there. I got to hang out in a nice hotel with a lovely swimming pool, and I had 20 sun loungers all to myself to choose from. And along comes a cat, jumps up onto my sun lounger and goes to sleep behind me. 20 sun loungers to choose from, but the cat wants to sleep with me. So it really was home from home. I've got a cat asleep on my lap right now. And if any of you are watching me on YouTube, I'm sitting here all cozy because it's a dark moon day with my coloured bobble hat on, and I have this beautiful poncho on. If you can see that, it's got flowers all over. It's beautiful colours. It matches the colour in my hair. And this poncho is from a friend of mine, and another Aquarius friend, who owns her own boho clothing company called Threaderick. And I've got quite a few items from there, most of which I managed to fit into my hand luggage, which is all I took with me to Egypt, and managed to make that last me for 5 days. And lots of her clothes are made from recycled saris, so they fold up really, really small, and they're beautiful. And I have a poncho that I purchased from her last weekend at a makers market, which just so coincidentally happened to be held at Angel Pavilion, where I've started my new classes. So I'm loving all the synchronicities, and that knowing that you know the right people, that your tribe are true, because you keep bumping into each other in the same places. And I seem to be surrounded by Aquarius people. My boyfriend, my best friend, my friend in Egypt that I went to visit, my friend who I got this poncho from, they're all Aquarius in this Aquarian time that we find ourselves in. And I'm not going to talk about Pluto in Aquarius today. We're going to talk Pisces. So on Sunday, we have a new moon in Pisces, a super new moon. New moons are time for setting intentions. So whereas this dark moon time is a time to rest and reflect and really sort of, what is it that I don't want to take forwards with me into this next new phase? Which is why I feel that, coming to somewhere like a Strala yoga class, to the self-love club, spending some time in quietness, slowing down, noticing how you feel, and really giving yourself that space to become aware of what it is that's not serving you, so that when it comes to this new moon time, we can confidently write down what we want. And one of the ladies in my class today, when I was getting them to journal, she said to me, "The trouble is, I don't know what I want." And I said, "Well, I think, a lot of people don't know what they want, but I think particularly women, we tend to be very adaptable, versatile, and adjust ourselves according to what's around us, our environment, who's around us. And quite often we can lose ourselves because we are trying to prevent upsetting other people." And we had a discussion around that, about how I was trying not to upset Tom by going on an aeroplane out of the country for the first time in 4 years without him. But what I was doing was preventing him from dealing with that feeling. And therefore, he's never getting to deal with it. And so we do tend to do that as women. We're trying to prevent the children from feeling any pain, our family, our friends. And what we end up doing is kind of losing ourselves in that. So having some me time, some self-love time to just notice how you feel and do what you want. And sometimes you've got to upset people to do that. But in a way, you're giving them a gift, because you are gifting them that gift wrapped in sandpaper, where they've got to get through the painful bit to grow through dealing with their feelings. And therefore, if we are doing what makes us happy and lights us up, we are then giving them the gift of being happier and a higher frequency to be around. And what was really lovely this morning, I always pull some oracle cards when I'm doing journaling with people. So I will give you a prompt and then I will pull some cards, see what cards come out whilst you're doing your journaling. And this morning, amazingly, the sacred masculine popped in on International Women's Day, just to remind us that we are both parts. And what I noted was the sun card in the oracle cards came out as well, and the sun on a dark moon. The sacred masculine card on International Women's Day. I was holding a yin yoga class in a building that used to be Broomfield Football Club. So the balance of everything, the light and the dark, all of this exists within us, and we can tend to get caught up in one or the other a little bit too much. Like we can get too much into our left brain and our right brain. We can get too much into our masculine or too much into our feminine. So I loved the fact that the sacred masculine came in to balance things out for us this morning in our yin yoga class. So Pisces is very much, a Pisces moon is very much a time to be peaceful, to drop all pushing and striving, and to practice trust. And I saw this sentence, this expression, and I really liked it, so I've written it down here. This is the perfect time to tap into your subconscious and trustful into the path unfolding before you. Pisces is a very spiritual time, and I believe that a spiritual practice is really getting to know thyself. Because when we know ourselves, we feel better, we feel more authentic, therefore we feel happier, we work better, we feel better, and therefore we make a difference around us. When I was looking for a playlist for my class this morning, I came across a playlist from this time last year. This time last year, I held a workshop called Pisces and Pearls. And it was all about Saturn moving into the sign of Pisces. Saturn is a masculine, structured systems, strategy, rules, discipline, time, the past. It's a very masculine energy planet. And it moved into the very watery, fluid, flowing, a flood without any banks, Pisces. So Saturn has come in to give our spiritual practice some structure, something to commit to. And the owner, Myra, the lovely Myra, who owns the Angel Pavilion and the Cheerful Chai Cafe, where my class is this morning, she's actually a maths teacher. And so we were saying she took part in the class this morning. And I said, again, this is a lovely example of Saturn in Pisces, the maths teacher in a self-love class, those balancing out those two things together. Pisces is, as I said before, traditionally ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. So it's a very dreamy sign. It also can be the sort of shadow side of Pisces is it can be very victim mode. People that are, you can tend to feel a bit like everything's happening to you and get into that state of being victimized. So, to come into the higher level, the higher side of Pisces is to start to understand and know yourself and come into that spiritual practice and take responsibility. So that Saturn is helping us to take responsibility and pull us out of that victim mode. So, yes, a time to be peaceful, to drop all pushing and striving and practice trust. The perfect time to tap into your subconscious and trust fall into the path unfolding before you. And I repeat that because I really want you to take that on board if you can. Finally, what I wanted to talk about today is some things that I've been manifesting and also a little bit about expressing ourselves, because, to know ourselves and to be authentic, we need to be able to express that. And quite often, if we haven't known ourselves and we haven't been able to express ourselves, quite often our throat chakra is shut down. And just recently, I was doing my astrology course that I'm on because I'm an astrologer in training with Nightlight Astrology. And I was on the course at the weekend, and one of the guys on the course popped up and he has a tattoo of the planet Mercury glyph on his throat chakra. And then an opportunity that has come up since I've done all this healing is that this podcast, All Things Moon podcast, is now being aired on TLC Radio UK. So that's a lovely lady that I know called Claire Evans. She owns a radio station called TLC Radio UK. And the Sunday that I was on the Vision Day, I got a message from her saying, I'm just listening to your podcast and I wondered if we could air it on our radio station. So from next Monday, it will be aired every moon day at 2:22, which is brilliant because I am very watery and I need some structure. And as I've been trying to promise you every time I've put a podcast out that I want to do this weekly, and now I have some structure. I have to hand in my homework every week. So we're going to be getting one of these podcasts out every week, which is brilliant. And I saw a post on TLC radio and saw that they were talking about all things throat chakra. So this came up for me and I thought I would just have a little look into it and share a little bit about Mercury and the throat chakra with you. So here's just some notes that I took. So Mercury, he's the trickster. He teaches us how to be quick and assertive, to focus on tangible results, to be playful and curious, to speak with compassion. Pisces is the most compassionate sign. So this is why this has come up at this time for me, I feel. To express oneself confidently, Mercury enables us in its higher expression to be analytical and precise, open to perspective, to perceive and investigate, to explore, to be innovative, to be creative, to give us the value of insight and exchange, that knowledge is its own currency, that travel breeds experience and wisdom, and ritual and routine are a connection to the Most High. How to make dreams and ground them into reality, for clarity to be achieved, and to speak my truth. So that is the energy of Mercury around self-expression. And I shall just go to where I've got some notes here. I'm just going to put my glasses on so I can see about Mercury being the planet of self-expression and authentic communication. So just like the throat chakra, which is connected to purity of thought and speech, as well as mental clarity, the throat chakra can be balanced and empowered by engaging in activities that stimulate creative expressions, such as writing or singing or movement in general. So when we move our bodies in yoga, for instance, practicing meditation techniques that help to calm the conscious mind. So the unconscious mind can help open up our throat chakra and allow more light to flow through. So some crystals would be blue crystals like turquoise, blue lace agate, lapis lazuli. They can all be placed on the throat chakra to help you with that. And just taking that time to understand ourselves through astrology. So to get your birth chart done, to know your sun, your rising, your ascendant sign, and your moon sign, to have your birth chart read, to have a moonology reading, all these things, they can help us to have a more authentic and true expression. So finally, just wanted to tell you about a couple of things that are coming up. So I told you about being on TLC radio. Next week, on the 15th, I am being interviewed on Chelmsford Community Radio on the Feel Good Factor programme on a Friday evening. So that will be between 7 and 9 o'clock on Chelmsford Community Radio with Rich Lyman. So that's another thing that happened since I pressed the button to go to Egypt. I had a message in my inbox on my website from Rich, and it turned out that his wife had picked up the Self-Love Club leaflet from the Cheerful Chai Cafe. He'd seen it, and he was looking for local mind, body, spirit people that work on helping people to feel good, experts in the field to interview. So I'll be doing that next Friday on the 15th. And what else is happening? We have our first ever, well, I say our first gong bath in Chelmsford. That's Gong to the Moon. So Tom and I, we are AKA Gong to the Moon. So we're doing a sound healing session on the 22nd for the spring equinox at the Angel Pavilion. And that's the first time since 2021. It's not the first time we've ever done sound healing. We've done loads. But we've been doing it at festivals and at retreats and things in the past couple of years. So this is our first local hometown event. And there's only 10 tickets left. We've sold over half the tickets. So that is going amazingly. And I'm also going to be taking part in a ladies' day retreat called the Radiant Womb Retreat. And that will be on the 6th of April. So all of these things you're going to find on my website and on my social media. And I've got about 30 seconds left. So if you go to All Things Moon Kelly on Instagram, to the All Things Moon group on Facebook, any of my Facebook pages, Kelly Jones or Kelly Amanda Jones, or my website, kellyjones.me. And you'll find all of these things there that I've been talking about. And I would love to hear from you, to hear from anything else that you would like me to talk about, to elaborate on, give me some questions, because I like to do a Q&A. And I will see you and speak to you